Tonight on Q2, pounding the pavement.
This has been the most exciting campaign I've ever had.
Election day is nearly upon us, and from Congress to the state legislature, there's a lot at stake.
It wasn't my intention when I got in this to be this affected by the people.
Plus, it's a thankless job and one under a giant microscope.
I felt like this was a good time to get into elections, even though it is certainly a challenging time across the country in elections. I thought, it's time to put my hand up.
We'll introduce you to Yellowstone County's new elections administrator. And it's not just the temperatures dropping. Snow has also been falling across parts of the state. Ed will let you know what's ahead for our area next on the MTN News at 10.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. We begin with the weather. It has been a pretty mild fall so far, but that's changing in a hurry this week. Temperatures are dropping and snow chances are going up. Parts of the state have already seen quite a bit of it. Western Montana already seeing several inches of snow. This was the scene in Butte as near whiteout conditions blanket the city. And here's a look at Missoula and their snow-covered roads. This is in Cook City, where they've already had some 5 inches and are counting. And we may not have snow here in Billings just yet, but it's on its way. And freezing cold temperatures could also soon be causing problems. Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh joining us now with the latest. Ed?
Here's a look at what's happening with the Stockman Bank weather cam right now, Russ. As you can see, things are at least a little more visible. Earlier in the evening, it was hard to see anything except pretty much just white moving all across the camera. Here's how it looks on Doppler radar. We've got a band of snow showers coming out of really southern Idaho up through Montana and then up into the northeastern corner of the state. But all the snow this evening is right along this band. And if we zoom down a bit, you can see that Billings right in the path of this. Most of this is going to favor Billings back into the mountain foothills throughout the evening hours of tonight. But right now, we're at least seeing some possibilities of more accumulations. This is mainly going to push all the way into at least tomorrow morning, then start to fade out a little bit once we start getting past that. As far as accumulations go, Billings could be in order of perhaps 2, maybe even 3 inches of snow for tomorrow, then more snow on the way. We'll talk about that. Complete forecast details coming up in just a few minutes.
With the temperatures falling outside, you might be cranking up your thermostat. But there are a few things you should keep in mind as you're getting your home ready for the winter. And they could even help you lower your insurance rates.
Owning a home comes with a lot of responsibility, and keeping up with maintenance can seem like a never-ending task. But one Livingston business, Home Manager, is working to help homeowners stay on top of those to-do lists through a system best described as Carfax for your home.
When we first bought our house, we had it for a couple years and we're like, we thought we knew all this stuff. And then when we started doing Home Manager, we're like, I didn't know how to do this or this.
Rebecca Booty owns a salon. Her husband Malachi works at a casino. But both also create these videos for Home Manager.
First step here is just to pull it right out, and most of them should come up pretty easy.
The business operates as a subscription service and costs $8 a month. These videos, along with a monthly checklist of home maintenance tasks, are sent to subscribers.
So you can save so much money by doing these things yourself. And even if we weren't actually a part of the company by filming and stuff like that, this is something that we would get ourselves just to help us.
If all of the items on the checklist are completed, you can qualify for a discount with your insurance provider.
We have the most compiled information literally in the country right now for data for home maintenance. It's a real great resource to look at, when you need to know what to do around the house.
Manny Getz founded the company and says while home maintenance can be a handful, the business works to take away added stress and can bring utility and insurance costs down. This month's checklist: cleaning out your gutters and getting your furnace serviced to ensure your house is ready for winter weather.
The main thing is to keep your house safe from fire, water damage, and keeping it warm in the wintertime.
And keeping up with home maintenance can be as easy as checking a box, thanks to this Montana company taking a new approach.
To have that peace of mind, too, you get these tasks done for each month, and it's like, okay, I know my house isn't going to burn down while I'm gone at work.
In Livingston, Kelsey Marison, MTN News.
One suspect has been located, and police are asking for the public's help finding another person of interest in connection to a homicide on Billings South Side late Saturday night. Investigators say they're trying to locate 22-year-old Brandon Rockabove. Rock above is an escapee from a corrections facility in Great Falls. Is described as 6 feet 3 inches tall, 193 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He's also known to have short hair or a shaved head. Billings police said in a news release that officers have located the other suspect, a person who was determined to be an escapee from the Billings Alpha House. That suspect has not been named, and the release did not specify if they were arrested. During that incident, officers were first dispatched for a vehicle crash in the 200 block of South 29th Street. Police say officers then found a man who'd suffered a gunshot wound and later died. No charges have been filed in the case. Well, the countdown is on. Tomorrow is Election Day, and here in Montana, there's a lot at stake. Voters won't just decide who to send to Congress. Tomorrow's vote could also give Republicans a supermajority in the state legislature. Our Haley Monaco takes a closer look.
The cold weather hasn't stopped the last-minute campaigning for Tuesday's election. I caught up with the House District 51 candidates as they hit the pavement, hoping to convince last-minute voters. Democratic candidate Carol Borner and Republican candidate Mike Yakowicz were out Monday knocking on doors of voters in their district.
And just a chance to meet them, learning about a real important one is neighborhood safety.
Getting to know voters and having them get to know me a little bit, hearing their concerns.
And the outcome of this race could have a major impact that extends far beyond this Billings neighborhood. If Republicans maintain their majority of 67 seats in the House of Representatives race Tuesday and gain 2 seats in the state Senate, they'll hold a supermajority.
And if we lose those 2 seats, the other side gets a supermajority. I fear that our Constitution is going away, and with it is going away our right to privacy, our voting rights, our hunting and fishing rights are already being decimated.
While Democrats fear what this could mean, Republicans argue the Democratic Party only has itself to blame. Democrats left 36 legislative seats uncontested in this year's midterm election.
We were going to focus on pivotal races, on races where we could at least have a chance at winning.
And these candidates are well aware of what's on the line, which is why they know these conversations matter.
Oh, you got it. You had that before anybody else.
Okay. Do I have your vote?
Absolutely. And while they may have some differences, they do share one thing in common.
No matter what happens locally here, city council, or on the state level, I just want to encourage people to vote.
That is our voice. That is that's how we have a say in how things are going to be.
Encouraging those to get out and vote in this election. In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Almost 300,000 people across the state have already voted, but turnout is still lagging behind recent elections. As of Sunday night, more than 284,000 Montanans had turned in their absentee ballots. That's 57% of the 501,000 ballots that have been mailed out. Overall, more than 37% of the state's 760,000 registered voters have already turned out. In Montana's 8 largest counties, the turnout so far ranges from a high of 45% here in Yellowstone County to a low of 33% in Flathead County. Statewide turnout is on track to be lower than the last midterm election in 2018, when more than 43% of voters had turned in ballots by the Friday before Election Day. Significantly more ballots were returned at this point in 2020, though it's harder to compare that since that was an all-mail election. Polling places nationwide will be busy tomorrow. And here in Yellowstone County, we have a new elections administrator. MTN's Jackie Coffin introduces us to Ginger Aldridge, a woman stepping into a thankless job in her hometown of Billings.
Floods of voters have been coming in and out of these doors here at the Yellowstone County Courthouse, dropping off ballots and registering to vote. It's a busy time to start a job if you work in elections, but for the county's newest election administrator, that job really won't start until after polls close.
When there are more concerns, it's important for people to put their hand up and say, look, I'm willing to get in there and help out.
It's a position that has recently been thrust into the spotlight, with some election administrators and volunteers around the country facing harassment and violence. But that doesn't sway Ginger Aldrich, Yellowstone County's newest election administrator.
I felt like this was a good time to get into elections. Even though it is certainly a challenging time across the country in elections, I thought, it's time to put my hand up.
For more than a decade, Yellowstone County elections were in the hands of Administrator Brett Rutherford. In September, Rutherford announced his departure, saying it was time for something new. And from the Corps of Election Volunteers, Kevin Gillen, Yellowstone County's retired deputy county attorney, stepped up.
What's really eye-opening is I've spent 20 years of elections working at polling places, not completely understanding or grasping the tremendous amount of work and volunteers involved in what do you do after the ballots are done.
Gillen is carrying the department through Tuesday's elections and then will pass the reins to Ginger Aldrich, a Billings native and longtime legislative attorney.
One of my topic areas that I deal with specifically is elections. So, and I'm also from Yellowstone County originally, born and raised here. So it was really exciting to be able to come back home to Billings and serve as the election administrator.
Running elections in Yellowstone County is a big task. There are nearly 106,000 registered voters, the majority of whom vote absentee. So far this election, more than 82,000 absentee ballots have been mailed out and over half have been returned.
We have integrity with our elections. You know, we're an open book. They can come down and check us out. And we want to see them all out at the polls.
In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
And count on Q2 for all your election results and reaction, beginning with our early evening newscast starting a little earlier tomorrow at 5 p.m. Ahead on the MTN News at 10 here on Q2, the odds aren't good, but that's not stopping people from taking a chance at one of the largest lottery jackpots ever. The winning number straight ahead. And later, how you can enjoy the residents of Zoo, Montana right from the comfort of your own home.
The MTN 10 o'clock news continues right after this.